Punk unicorns, we're here to stay, living our lives in our own way. Mama K and Nikki B, we're here to slay, tearing down walls we don't play. Gay man, be a woman, we're all one. Eccentric and wild, we're never done. Garage gods of filth and blasphemy. We're the punk unicorn family. Give us a hug, we'll give you a laugh. It's the Punk Unicorns Podcast. Mama K and Nikki B, we're a blast. Join us and you'll have a blast.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning to you.
It's summery out here.
It's a lovely day in our neighborhood.
Yeah, we are broadcasting to you from the desert in Nevada right now.
I was about ready to say Nikki's Arboretum.
Oh, yeah, actually, I'm just kidding. It's in the gay cave.
It's in the gay bat cave, the Bay Gat Cave. Yeah.
They are not yet a, what are they called when you have a patron?
Patreon?
Sponsor.
Sponsor.
They're not a sponsor yet, but I would love for Stanley to be a sponsor. Okay, and one moment before we get started. That weird sound that those brakes make in new cars where it sounds like Stranger Things music is playing boggles my mind. That's the brakes generating something for the brakes.
What is that guy doing?
My neighbor? He's probably turning around. Okay,
Anyway.
Hi!
So, how was y'all's week?
Uh-huh.
We don't care.
Yeah. My week was great. I sold massive amounts of marijuana legally.
He's a drug
Oh,
dealer.
and I have an announcement to make that's gonna make everybody's panties moister than moist.
I'm glad I'm wearing a panty liner.
In July, I don't have a date, I just have a time period. Pre-roll.
I knew you were gonna say that. That is so
And
funny
I'm not
that.
giving you insider news. That's legal. I'm totally allowed to talk about that. Yeah.
That is so exciting because that is so weird that you said that because I'm sitting here looking. Is he gonna say pre-rolls? If he says pre-rolls, I really probably will piss my pants because it's so funny because
It's gonna make me busy
somebody
like
messaged me.
420 every single day forever now.
Tiffany messaged me, Gwenny J's mother that lives across the street. She messaged me this morning. She says, "Hey, does Nick's dispensary sell pre-rolls?" I was like, "No, unfortunately they don't." I said the best place to do it is that one place where it's questionable whether it is actually marijuana or not.
Oh, I don't think they're open anymore.
Oh, really?
Something's open there, but I don't think it's Best Buds related.
I saw a preview for a dispensary, and I don't know if you can't make shit up like this sometimes. But this woman's standing there, and she's literally like, she looks like she walked out of a gentleman's club, And then she's got these two, like, security dudes next to her, and then, like, this graffiti building behind her. Like, come to our dispensary. I'm like, no, we gotta get a tetanus shot first.
Okay, first off, we are not legally allowed to have commercials. So, that was a Delta 9 dispensary. They are literally on their last leg. They were made illegal. I don't know what the date is for their closures.
That makes sense.
Also, you guys can have 2.5 ounces a day on recreational. You can have up to 15,000 grams on concentrates and vapes and gummies, separate from the 2.5 ounces. So no longer, we still have limits on what you can buy. That's us, but that's just because they're on sale.
Can we talk about tinctures for a minute?
Tinctures, absolutely.
Because I have never tried it, and when my birth mother was passing away, she had cancer in her lungs and in her brains, but my mom has always been a big pothead. And so she switched from smoking, obviously, due to the lung issues, and she would do tinctures, and she would, like, put it on a piece, what did she have? She had a, like a junior mint, or not a junior mint, what are those things called? Peppermint patty, like mini peppermint patties, and she would put the stuff on there and then eat it. Like, she asked me if I wanted some.
That was
and I would always offer, like, I felt so bad, I would be smoking, and then I'd be like, here, Mom, and she'd be like, Kathy Joe, I have cancer.
I think that was RSO, syringe oil.
It was in a syringe, yeah, and it was like black.
Tinctures are THC in liquid form.
Okay,
So they look like
maybe
little.
that's not
They
what
look
that
like
was.
little
Let me make sure
bottles,
this is not-
and you take droppers of it under your tongue. Under your tongue, like.
Put this on Do Not Disturb. Yeah. So okay, I didn't know the difference between that and if
RSO syringe allegedly, like you'd have to watch the Rick Simpson Run from the Cure. It's on YouTube. It's free. It tells you the whole story of how he invented the oil. Did clinical research, did actual trials, did them the right way with control groups and placebos, whole 9 yards. Verifiable results. He's put thousands of people in remission and cured people. And yes, you can say the word cure. You just gotta watch the movie.
yeah.
But if you eat a gram of it a day, that's gonna greatly increase your chances of surviving the chemo. Because chemo fries your other systems.
Yeah, when
It can get rid of cancer, but it also can give you 2 other different kinds of cancer.
she had a radiation rash when I was there. Bless her heart. She was so swollen, and my mom was very short, just like me, but she was shorter than me, and I'm 5'5". And so she was very swollen, and she had a radiation rash. It was just like, it looked like somebody hit her in the fucking forehead with a brick, and it just left an imprint.
The same thing happened with my dad.
Yeah, it was, it's funny now, because my mom kept her sense of humor, and I was like, Mom, it looks like somebody hit you in the head with a brick. And then we were going shopping, and I saw somebody, like, looking at Mom. You know, she was in the little and was looking at something, and I'm a people watcher, because when you have children that look different or have special needs, you tend to be very hyper
notice
aware.
that look. You always know when someone's looking.
So I've always been hyper aware since my son Jordan was born. So I watch everybody to see who's watching, because don't piss me off. So this woman was looking at Mom, and clearly was looking at this imprint on her forehead. And I bent down and I said, if you don't hurry the fuck up, Tammy, I'm gonna hit you again with that fucking brick in the forehead.
That's hot.
And my mom looked up at me, and then I kind of like gave her a look, and she was like, and then, because my mom was like, okay, she'll tell me later. And then she was like, what the fuck was that? And I told her, and she thought it was hilarious. So, but yeah, Speaking of needles and injections, I did my second injection of my semaglutide yesterday.
That is the Ozempic. Should we start singing like we're just sitting here filming our podcast, getting her A1C in order,
and my GLP-1 in my pouch. Now, the scales have not moved, y'all. However, if y'all haven't noticed, and how can you not? Because if I notice, y'all have to notice that 1.5 of my free chins are gone.
Many blessings. Oh, and rest in peace to Kathy's last chin. Now she's working on number 2, which is her 30s.
Yep.
She's working on the one from her 30s, and then she'll finish
So
with the 20s.
the one that I lost was the one that was lowest, that made the bottom of my neck look like a vagina.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you because I have the same thing when I do this.
Yeah, it was
Hey girl,
really uncomfortable. So, so let's talk about,
oh, wait a minute, one more announcement. Happy week 2 of Pride!
yes! Happy week 2 of Pride, and we would like to send out our deepest condolences for the America's most famous gay couple for their recent breakup.
Yeah, and it's been a gnarly one. I mean, can you imagine when you send the security guards to like the gayest place on earth outside of Columbus, Ohio?
Yeah,
Just
Ronald
to piss off
and
your boyfriend and all his boyfriends.
Ronald and
friends.
E-John.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah, I mean, the disagreement that they had, you know, was he on the list? He says he wasn't. Yeah.
I just think it's funny because
Hebron Slusk says that Ronald,
the younger of the two, the cub, he is really in a position to tell some wonderful stories.
He is, but
no one's going to believe him.
Nobody's going to believe him.
That's what happens when you're a brat. And you know, his parents probably had him tested when he was a kid, and I bet the doctor said he's a brat.
Not autistic, he's a brat.
He's a brat.
But no, he, like, the ass kissing ended, you know, and
I know, we never talk about politics. We're only talking about the comedic aspects.
We're talking about the comedic aspects of it.
Because those 3 a.m. fucking tweets are getting good, like, hey,
right.
I'm just going to tell everybody.
Right, exactly. You smell like tuna feet.
Yeah, and every time
you pick your booger.
Fart, you shit your pants.
Yes. Massively shit your pants.
It's like, hi, we knew that.
So, you know, it's almost one of those things where you're imagining one night they both have a little too much Perrier and vodka.
I was about to say, yeah, I guess the sodium in that would make their blood pressure.
Well, yeah, that too. They had some Perrier and some vodka, and then next thing you know, Rion Flusk is calling Ronald Frump like, it's 1:15. I'm a little drunk and I need you now.
It took me a second to know what song that
Said
was.
I wouldn't call, but I lost all control and I need you now. When you guys do that, make a video, please, because that'll be, you know, people will play that shit at their weddings, you know.
That is some funny shit.
Speaking of shit, on Sunday morning, I woke up and all of the water from my turlet was backing up into my tub.
Oh, that's beautiful. Did it look like what I would imagine it looked like? Because I've seen that happen before. Here. Ooh.
Yeah. But the plumber didn't get there until Monday morning at 8:30 in the morning. And you know we only have one bathroom, so there was multiple trips to Speedway after the neighbors went to bed. So
like everybody up now.
The
we're
guys,
going to the bathroom,
the plumbers were super nice. And
were they hot?
no, but listen, here's something strange. Now, I never told them what my name was. And usually when the landlord
because
calls...
I'm the way too, so I know what you mean. Like, I remember.
And the landlord usually will just say, this is the address, this is the issue, and then, you know. So the guy comes in, he's super nice, and then next thing you know, another truck rolls up, and I made the comment, I was like, man, I'm getting a little nervous. I said, this is almost like when the second cop rolls up when you get pulled over. I said, shit must be really backed up, huh? And he's like, oh no, he goes, he's just meeting me here so we can go to the next place together, cause whatever. And I was like, I know, whatever. I was joking with him. So then I'm sitting there, and the other guy comes up, and I don't know what he was singing, but he sounded so beautiful. They were older gentlemen. One was in his late 50s, and the other one was probably in his mid 60s.
Oh, so it was probably Casey Musgrove's Flower Girl.
Probably. So
did I say that wrong? Musgrave?
Musgrove, Grave. It just depends on what dialect you are, east, south, northwest. It's just a different dialect anywhere you go. But the older gentleman was singing, and I had the window open, and I was sitting there on the couch, and I was like, sing it, son. I said, how'd I say that? I said, if I wasn't so dehydrated and just getting up in the morning, I would harmonize with you, but I don't even know that song.
Check on that real quick.
And the younger of the two said, yeah, that's my older brother. And I said, you ever just fling some shit at him?
Oh my God, my sister and I are too old for that, but like, I could see my nieces having done that to each other.
Yeah. I said, y'all ever just get mad at each other on the job and just take that snake and go...
Oh,
and they are cracking up.
I thought you meant actual shit.
Well, yeah, like the shit that was on the thing. I was like, you just take that thing and mollywop some shit. And they start cracking up or whatever. He's like, you so funny, cat. And I'm like...
That's one of the things, when you're ADHD and spectrum, you are telling jokes, but not necessarily the way other people think. You're just talking about normal thoughts in your head, and they happen to be funny.
My thing is I don't know how he knew what my name was. I never told him my name.
Right, because Cam doesn't call you...
No, and me and Ray were the only one home, and
Ray calls you Mom.
Mom, and my landlord doesn't call me Kat, he calls me Kathy.
Was he maybe a former coworker of your husband and you forgot?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, because I'm that way too.
And they would have called me by my government name. Only people that are close to me, I let them call me that. So if I introduce myself to you as Kathy, don't call me Kat, because we ain't like that. And if I say to you, my name is Kathleen Joellen, I don't like you at all because that ain't even my name.
Yeah, you morons.
Climb a tree and fall on the other side. So, Nick.
I just took an allergy pill. I hope it was for the first time today.
Well, we won't stay on long in case Nick
starts tripping.
Goes narcoleptic on us.
I won't. It'll just make me feel like I ate too many no-dos.
Yeah. Oh, dope. Yeah. It's a beautiful dog.
I know. It's a perfect day for doggy walking. In case you didn't know, in case you don't live in the Platte, he was. I'll tell you something about him once he gets farther away. But, Gen Xers love to go on dog walks. And can I just say, there are so many zaddies and dilfs and millennial daddies. I don't know what millennial daddies are called. The ones that are like 29 to 38. What do you call them?
I don't know.
Because we're gilfs now. We're not dilfs and milfs anymore.
Gays.
No.
Gays, we'd like to
grandmas and grandpas and great uncles and great aunts that.
Isn't that funny that I went straight to gays instead of grandmas?
Yeah. And I'm not a grandparent,
but you're at that age.
I am a great uncle.
Yeah. So
my oldest nieces, my oldest niece is technically Okay, your first cousin's children are actually your nieces and nephews.
Sort of, yes.
So Jenny is my oldest niece from my cousin Kelly. And then my oldest, like direct descendant is Caitlin. And she has 2 children. And they're like at the fun stages of evil and learning how to talk. And I'm just kidding, because the oldest is not evil. He has absolutely got a heart. And the last time he was here, he finally remembered me, which made me super happy. Because when you're a little kid and a kid lives far away, they don't remember you until you develop a couple memories with them. So, you know how I am with sounds and shit. So as we play with his airplanes and stuff, I'm like...
So that's what he...
Right, so now he's got it in his head. And he's starting to talk now, and the younger one is starting to talk too.
That's awesome.
They'll probably be in school together at the same time. Like when they're like 2 years apart.
Yeah.
That's the best. When there's like, you've got one as a senior and one's a sophomore.
Yeah, I thought my grandson would be in the same kindergarten as my daughter, but he's not going to be.
Boys are not ready for school at the same time girls. Starting boys at 6. If you have boys, just start them at 6. Everybody's doing it now. They thrive. Just starting 1 year later makes those boys excel at school instead of struggling.
Now, what I saw, Caden is autistic, and he started preschool at the middle of last year.
He needs 2 full years.
So he finished middle of last year, and he went a full year this year. So he had like 2 graduations. So he gets to go to kindergarten in August. So that's exciting, and I'm hoping that he continues to develop more. Because in the beginning...
I think it'll happen a lot when he gets to school.
Yes.
Kids have an amazing ability to adapt to their situation. They're
all... Well, he's very much...
adaptable.
There's certain aspects to people who are autistic have different, like his is he develops like a connection to like a person, and that becomes like his person, and like so in the beginning of his preschool this year, he was just getting in trouble all the time, and finally they were like, let's look at this teacher. Let's look at this teacher, because she the littlest thing.
Teachers need to be friends with their students.
Yeah, they switched him to an older teacher, and it was like night and day in a matter of weeks. And when he graduated last week, I told her, I said, honey, you did amazing with him, and we couldn't be more grateful. And if there is a particular teacher
that makes me happy,
that you have in mind that would work for them for next year, please let them know. And she did. So, parents, if your child has a good rapport with their teacher and your child struggles, when that child leaves the comfort of that teacher, you go to that teacher and say, hey, I want the transition between this grade and this grade to go smooth for this child because this child struggles. If you were to suggest a teacher at such and such school, such and such grade, that would excel with him from where you've brought him or her from, we need to know who that is, because that's the step we want to keep taking. We don't want to get him back to, oh, well, I don't know you, now I'm going to be uncomfortable.
Right, and unruly.
Which, it's going to happen. He's going to have his moments. Every kid has their moments. But what every kid needs is that teacher that's willing to take the extra step to make sure that that child is comfortable, and that child doesn't feel bad or like they're getting in trouble all the... Because, that's what it is. My daughter-in-law was getting so frustrated. Like, every day they were saying, she's like, man, every day they're saying something. And finally they were like, we're switching teachers. And that was the best decision those kids ever made. Because he thrived under her.
I like that. Because, kids, I know it's an unpopular thing, but when you're teaching someone you learn better from a friend. So, like, your teacher should be someone that you would be friends with in the outside world as an adult, all through childhood. And, you know, with me, I would almost bet money that the teacher I had the year before picked the teacher I had the next year.
That's something I always did with my kids.
I always had the cool teacher that could handle my energy. One teacher fought me. And that was this fucking bitch. And I'm going to call her out by name because she was mean. And it wasn't just me. Anybody that went to Phillipsburg knows Mrs. Starline was hateful. She should have been retired. Okay? She did not know how to deal with third graders, and she was not a nice person. One time she made fun of my dad in front of the class. She didn't even know him. She just said something really shitty about him, and I was just like, I had a freak out moment. It was the only time I'd ever cried at school like that.
Yeah, how
before.
dare her?
Oh, and it was out of anger. And you know, me, I can go 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So she was lucky I didn't pop off. And I knew my strength, so I did not pop off. I've never hit an adult as a kid, other than my sister maybe.
There was a teacher that my son Kyle had in middle school maybe, but I can't remember, or it was before we left Brookville maybe, I don't remember, but Mrs. Boyer is who it was, and she was just a cunt. I mean, it's been so long ago, I can't remember the specific details. He
like
probably does.
Multi-generational, everybody.
Yeah, and
her.
then Cameron. Did Cameron have a teacher I didn't like? I don't think so. And then when Kyle was in high school, he had, I think she was a history teacher, and I don't remember her name, or I would call her out. Kyle had fallen asleep in class one day, and he got detentions for it, like multiple. And
that happens when you're a teenager. I get mad at adults that don't research why that happens.
And he says, Mom, she doesn't even teach. She plays videos every day, and then she sits there and falls asleep. I said, what? So
that's shit-tastic.
He says, Mom, I'm telling you. Well, one of Kyle's friends had said the same thing, like, look, I am in the class and she does. I said, I'm having I'm going to have a teacher's conference with her. So I need you to get me a picture of her sleeping.
That's hot as fuck. I love black.
The picture didn't come until after the meeting, but we did get the picture. So, so I went in there, and she had a teacher's aide that was in the classroom with her. And so we're sitting there, and she's going over all of Kyle's grades and everything, which I could give a fuck about at this point. I'm just waiting for her to bring up the sleeping. And so she brings it up, and I said, before we talk about Kyle's naps, I said, let's talk about yours. How many naps are you taking in class during the day? And she said, I beg your pardon. And I said, I did not stutter. How many naps
when you get to say that.
Are you taking during the day? Because I've heard from not just my child, but other students of yours that you are falling asleep in class. And she said, well, she says, I have never. And before she could even finish that sentence, her aide was like, I am in this class with her every day, and I have never seen her take a nap. I said, well, then you must be sleeping too.
That's hot.
The very next day. Well, after I spoke with her that day at the conference, I went straight down to the principal's office. And if I remember correctly, Kyle didn't go into the teacher conference with me, but he went with me to the principal's office where I broke it down for him. What had just occurred. You're getting so close.
Almost there. I practice a lot. Can I just tell you that I practice a lot? This has been a 25-year struggle for me. I cannot roll R's. It's the only reason I didn't fucking do foreign languages as a major and be a translator.
So we go down to the principal's office, and I fill him in on everything. The very next day, Kyle gets the picture. And I have it on Facebook. I'm sure I could find it on Facebook, but Kyle's got his, you can tell he's got his phone like behind books and everything. She's got the, what's that thing called that you pull down to watch a movie on? Projector screen down. She's got that pulled down. She's sitting in the chair like that. Oh, fuck me. Hold on, guys. I just had it pop. Ooh, wow. She's sitting just like this.
Wanting to drop shit into her mouth so badly.
Ugh. I'm gonna see if I can find the picture. Cause yeah, I emailed it straight to the principal. I said, now my son will no longer, cause I think he had I'll say he had 4 detentions for that, and he had already served 1, and I said he will not be serving another fucking day. Because it is.
If she can sleep in class.
It says, conversation at teacher's conference on Thursday. Me, how often you fall asleep when you're supposed to be teaching? Teacher, I never ever fall asleep. In fact, I never sit down. Wrong and wrong, bitch. This is from an old camera, he's been out of school he's 25 now, so.
I don't want to say it. Don't say it out loud. But who's that look like at first glance?
Kind of.
I won't even say it out loud, but anyway.
So yeah, guys. I'm just gonna walk up here. Hobble,
God,
wobble,
don't
wobble.
fall, because that's concrete.
Look at that bitch right there. Look at her. Straight up sleeping in class. Wanna give my son a detention.
I should have thrown grapes at her. No, because that could have got clogged in her.
Well,
But
what I want to know
raisins
is
would have been okay.
where that teacher's aide was that has never seen her sleeping. Was she asleep too?
No, she was taking a shit.
She's
Teacher's
probably
aide.
pooping. So, Nick and I
Oh yeah, review time.
watched
Excellent. Oh,
a
spoilers.
fucking
Total
movie.
spoiler.
spoilers
alert.
of the movie Straw, Tyler Perry movie Straw. If
'Cause
you
we are
haven't
going to
seen
go
it,
in detail.
don't watch the rest of this. Go watch it before you watch the rest of it, because we about to talk about this shit.
It's on Netflix. Straw. Tyler
Oh.
Perry. It's great.
It is not the normal Tyler Perry comedy. It is a thriller, and
Let's just say it's on. Okay, it wasn't as good as a Jordan Peele movie, but it was similar directing, similar acting, similar content. It was very much had a us, them, nope feel to it. It was, I liked it.
So if you've ever been a single parent, when it rains, it pours. Child, this woman was in a fucking monsoon.
And I could think about 20 people that almost the exact same shit had happened to, except minus the one part.
When you go through any type of grief, it is very hard to determine how it's going to hit you, because it depends on the situation, the person, how it happened, all these other things. And when you lose someone, sometimes it just
Makes you
doesn't
snap.
register, and you lose your ever-loving mind. So the story is just
Super
it
sad.
breaks
Right
your
from the
fucking
get-go.
heart, man. Everybody's like, I didn't cry. So here's the thing.
If you don't cry, then
I cried the first time I watched it when the phone call came in from the mom. Okay? That's when I cried. Then I was like, okay, knowing what I know now, I want to watch it a second time. So I watched it the next day again and bawled the entire time. Because I knew that she was having a mental health emergency and was in denial of what had happened to her the night before. And
it's like Fight Club. You have to watch Fight Club a second time after you get the big premise.
so there is a movie in the 90s. Let's see if we both
I almost caught it this already. It's probably the same thing.
what?
Set It Off?
No.
Oh, I thought it was like a one woman Set It Off.
Well, kind of, but no, I'm talking about the way the storyline went and the plot. Like, the plot twist is what I'm talking about.
Oh, maybe a little bit like Go.
So,
Because they
How
go
can I
with
put this?
a shit-tastic shit
Like-
pancake hits each one.
what year did that? It was mid-90s where it come out. And it had Bruce Willis in it. The Sixth Sense. And here's why it reminded me.
Oh, yeah, because you think something else is going on.
Yeah.
And then eventually you find out
it's the
something
complete
totally...
opposite of
I
what...
did not get Sixth Sense until the end. I didn't even understand at the end, and I'm like, he's dead?
Yeah, so you have...
I was so pissed.
So when
like,
I
how did
realized
not
that
get
at the end of The Sixth Sense, I had to turn around and go watch it again because
And then
now
you're like,
you're
how
watching
did
everything.
I not notice?
Right? Like, how did I not notice?
God.
Because, like, when she goes into the school, or when she goes to the school, and the teacher's standing outside, and she's waving at her with this confused look on her face, like, why are you here? You can tell that the teacher knew.
No, I picked up on that.
The
teacher-
disconnect of the teacher. Yeah,
Yes.
like, why are you
Like,
here?
I was like, she knows something.
Yeah, something's
Because
something's
I
up.
was like going
Yeah.
in a totally different direction in my head. I thought it was going to be like evil cop movie
Yeah.
where cop snaps and goes after somebody.
Well,
Well,
I'll
kinda
tell you, yeah,
was.
because that FBI agent was a little bit of a prick.
He was more than a
He was
prick.
such an asshole, sexist
He
bastard.
was so mean to this.
Detective.
Well, part of the is that got a very, very strong police officers in an inner city area, and all the main characters are very strong people of color. I love it. Well, then you got the stupid dick from the FBI come in and act
yeah,
like
we're
they
in charge
it's
now.
going too long, and because the one officer is making an emotional connection, and the FBI did not like that. And it's like, well, that's how we keep everybody in the situation from dying.
Right, and they teach you that in school. I should not.
And I'm just a firm believer that half of criminal justice should be psychology.
And it is there is a shit ton of psychology that you have to go to, classes that you have to do.
It
in
should
order to
basically
get
be a
just an
dual
associate's.
degree. I really think you should have at least an associate's in psychology to be a police officer.
To know how to talk to people. Yeah, because, there is a
Or any
particular
kind of
police
counselor.
officer. There's a particular police officer in this movie that show the fuck don't know how to talk to people.
And no, he is evil.
And how long was he at that standoff pretending like he ain't know who she was up in there? He knew who she was up in
and
there.
he did.
Kept it, and when she come up,
And
it
him
was
and
like,
his partner,
whoa, boom.
as they're watching the live feed, knowing that she's talking about them. But I did like that the one not as bad cop who's just used to covering up because she's trying to do good.
Right, the do-gooder.
The do-gooder cop. Well, she eventually has to tell on herself.
Yeah.
And she does. She mans up. Oh, that's a horrible term for her. She owns up and adults up well.
Yes.
And tells on herself and is like, yes, God. But the other cop was like, bitch, you better tell me right now.
Uh-huh. You got one chance, ho.
And I loved it because the local cop would have been arrested for hitting the county sheriff. I don't know how that didn't happen in the movie, but it would have. She runs up and punches the motherfucker. And there are 40,000... No, that's an exaggeration.
Right. There's a lot of
about
cameras on her.
500 people there protesting, okay? Because the clerk on the inside had her Facebook Live on, okay? So everybody could see what was going on the inside. So when the female cop comes up, the one evil sheriff is already up there trying to get in on the shit. He wants to be part of the team that storms the door. Well, she just walks up and punches them on live television, live Facebook, and probably live Instagram and live whatever else.
Yep. So, basically, the premise of this movie is a mother wakes up with a complete mental breakdown.
Absolute, complete.
And
she is seeing things,
when
whole 9 yards.
Ever And whatever could go wrong with her day did go wrong. She went to work to a boss that, let me tell you something right now.
He's a dick.
You let me. Ooh. I wish she'd have beat him. Listen, I did not like you for. What are you walking for? What are you walking for?
We'll leave out what happens to him just so there's one positive thing, because that's not crucial. But yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what. Nobody should talk to you like that, and I wish the motherfucker would.
I have never needed a job that bad, and I'm sorry when people do. Thank God.
I did have an employer that made a comment about my size one time. And he was a doctor, and he, the thing is he had no room to talk about nobody, because he was doing all kinds of shady shit behind. He ended up getting deported. He lost his license. Oh yeah, I could Google Seth, Setha, last name Oninku, Oninku. Trotwood Family Care.
I know some. I
worked there as a medical assistant. He would, he was in with some shady, shisty people. He did sexual favors for people, or had women come in and do, he had all kinds of stuff going on in there. Writing prescriptions for sexual favors. Oh yeah, there's a whole article. I send it to you. I'll find it and send it to you. But he wanted us, I was, and everybody, the other attendants, we were in charge of going in. Hi, what brings you in today, Nick? And then Nick tells me what brings him in, and I write it on the chart. And yeah, dry vulva. I take his stats, make sure everything's going on. Is there anything else besides that you want to talk to the doctor about? No. And then, get out of the room. Everybody's different. Maybe Nick is very straight to the point. Maybe my next patient wants to talk my fucking ear off.
Yeah, because I'm ready to just get in there.
Right. So there was one day where we had a lot of patients, and we had every room filled up, which was a rarity, but we did have every room filled up. And patient A wanted to talk my ear off. Patient B was quick to the point. Patient E wanted to talk my ear off. Well, I wasn't going as fast as he wanted me to go.
Uh-oh.
And he said, look, just because you're big, well, he was from Africa. He was from Africa, like, not the white person Africa, the other Africa where they get, okay, that sounded horrible.
Well,
but you know what I mean.
Big people are revered there because it means you have a lot of food and you're rich.
He had like where they take the knives to their faces and stuff, like that kind of.
Oh,
that's why I said it that way, because like
I know what
he
you
had
mean.
all the
He's
like
tribal.
tribal. Thank you.
He's not from the city.
So he says to me in front of a lobby full of people and patients everywhere, hey, just because you're big doesn't mean you have to be slow.
I don't even know how I probably would have quit on the spot.
I was so mortified. And then there was a patient in there, and there was like a misunderstanding or something like that, and I made a comment, and he brought me into his office, and he had these two guys sitting there in his office in suits trying to intimidate me and saying some things. Kyle was about 9 months old. My 25-year-old was about 9 months old. They said, you have any kids? I said, yeah, I have a 9-month-old. Why? He says, yeah, we like them young. They don't make much noise. Talking about threatening to kill my child. Like, fuck you, motherfucker. Fuck you. I left that day. I went straight to my doctor's office. I said, put me on something to where I'm brave enough to fucking call these bitches out.
That's scary.
And it wasn't. I don't know this for a fact. Okay, so I'm not going to say that this is for a fact, but my heart wants to believe that when I left my doctor's office, she contacted the police, and that's what led into this investigation of him and what they ended up finding. I don't know if that's the case, but that's what my heart wants to believe. Because 3 years later, he was out of the country. He was completely out of the country. And then I remember the lady that worked in billing, I can't remember what she said, but he made a derogatory comment to her about white girls. She yelled at him. She goes, "If you don't fucking like it, get back on the goddamn boat."
That's hot.
And I thought he was gonna fire her right on the spot, but he didn't.
No, he liked that.
He liked it. He liked him being feisty. No, I'm good. No. So, but yeah, bosses can be assholes. The only other issue I had other than that guy was my very first job at Subway. The manager had the fucking nastiest breath I'd ever smelled in my life. He could make the whole back of the Subway smell like his breath.
Was his name Don Reed?
I don't remember his name.
Did he also own the one in Vandalia?
I don't know, but I don't know if he owned it, but he was the
I'll tell
manager
you
at the
my
Brookville
Subway.
one. The Brookville one inside the Speedway
He had two
in
Subways.
'96. That's where I worked, my first job.
That's funny. That's when I
God, I
worked.
can't remember what his name was.
So many parallels.
But that sound.
We grew up in the same area, in the greater Brookville area. I grew up in Phillipsburg. They are
Yep.
7 miles apart, if
Mhm.
that. What else?
There is no way our paths haven't crossed over the
Lots
last
of
years. We just haven't.
hotels. We have
Yeah.
a couple friends that we were both friends with separately. That's weirdness. I know.
What else was there?
We both like big dicks. Oh, wait a minute. Let's finish Straw.
Oh yeah.
So, okay, back to she punched him, okay? He had to leave, so she would come out of
Yeah,
the
that was
bank.
the stipulation. Basically, this woman just wanted to cash her check so she could take care of some things that she had a lot to take care of that day. She had rent to pay and this to do, and she would tell everybody, "I get my check today, I'm gonna cash my check and I'll take care of it." Well, she was just trying to cash her check. And then it got twisted to where it was like she was robbing the bank, but she really wasn't. She was just trying to cash her check.
She had some kind of science fair project that
Her
looked,
daughter's science fair project was
It
in a
looked
clear
like-
back bag, and it did look like a bomb.
it straight up looked like a motherfucking chemical bomb with all these different compartments and stuff, and you were like, well, it kept going off and she had to turn it off.
And they were
Everybody-
like, "Don't
They're like, Janaya, you don't have to do this.
right, and then she'd be like,
And then when they found out that it was a science project, they
Oh.
almost just started peeing on themselves because it was so
right, and then the
funny.
one bitch in there that didn't want to do nothing and try to escape and everything, that Tessa ho, she went and wrote on the mirrors in the bathroom, "Bomb
Bomb
isn't
is-
real, only one gun."
So she kind of was like adding fire to the, or adding gasoline to the fire.
Everybody be knowing a Tesla.
So, okay, here's the final spoiler. So if you've listened up to now, we're going to ruin the whole movie for
The
you.
whole movie, stop right now, because this is like literally, he's probably talking about the plot twist. And
Yeah.
if it is, then y'all don't want to hear this. Okay,
So-
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've been more. Go ahead, Nick.
Okay, so the plot twist is her daughter's been dead the whole time.
The whole movie.
So every time you see her,
Every time you see the daughter,
It's
you're not
all in
seeing
the-
the daughter.
yeah, it's in her head. She's had a complete mental breakdown.
So the night before this movie starts with the mom waking up in bed with the daughter laying next to her. And they do their daily thing. She takes the daughter to school and she drops her off at school and then she goes to work and
Wow.
like everything that she would normally do. But what had happened is the night before the little girl was sickly. And she had a seizure and she didn't make it. She had passed the night before, and the mom had came back home, went to bed, and woke up in a psychosis to where she thought the little girl was still there. So,
And was trying to finish all the tasks she was supposed to do the
right,
next
she
day.
was supposed to give her daughter $40 so she could pay her lunch fees at school because the fucking teacher was making fun of her.
We could do a whole episode on that one part, and because it infuriates me. But
Oh my God.
you already know how we feel. Lunch should be free.
And
Just saying.
so the mom was kind of she was in this mental psychosis and in denial about the child being gone until inside the building right before she surrenders, her phone gets turned back on briefly. And it's Janiah's mother calling to be like, why are the FBI at my house? What the hell are you doing?
She just died last night.
Yeah, well, she was like, Mom, I don't know why they're saying all these things. I'm just trying to pay my baby's lunch, and I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to get to my baby, and da da da. And she's like, Janiah, she died last night. And then you're like, what?
Total Fight Club moment.
And then they
it goes back and shows you all those scenes again.
It shows you all the scenes that you watched before that had the little girl in them, and now you're
what
seeing
really happened.
What really happened. So now you're understanding why the teacher at the drop-off line looked at her weird, and but like I told Nick, and
it makes you hate all the people that were mean to her even more.
Yes.
Because they were so violent to her
after
her daughter dying.
Well, and if, like I said, when she woke up that morning, nobody in that apartment complex, I don't believe, knew what had happened.
Oh, okay. So when the
know.
landlord put her shit...
I don't think she knew what happened until the live feed went on at the
And then
bank.
everybody felt bad.
And then everybody realized what had happened. I think... Because if you remember, she tells the Sherry Shepherd character, my baby died, and she says, yes, I know, they told me earlier. So what I'm thinking is it was all over the news.
Kudos to the bank manager.
Yes.
Who's that actress?
Sherry Shepherd.
Sherry
She's normally
Shepherd.
in comedic.
For some reason, I thought I'd seen her on... Was she the religious person on Community? Or is that another actress?
Oh, I don't know what community.
Okay.
But Sherry Shepherd's normally in comedies, and she's a stand-up
And
comedian.
she killed it. She was actually the
amazing.
best actress in the entire thing. I liked her better than the main character.
She knew, and she didn't correct the delusion.
No, she needs to be a crisis response team.
That was one of the best.
Well, that character needed to be on.
Yeah, that was like the best.
And she was motivated by wanting to be alive because she had 2 kids.
Yeah, and then she was like, will you take care of Aria was the name of the daughter that passed away. And the reason I remember that's because I have a cheerleader,
And I was like, that's
Aria.
fucked up that she's got to lie to this chick that she's going to foster her kid because this is before you find out the kid's dead.
Right, she says, they're going to take me to jail. Will you please take my baby? I don't have anyone.
Yes.
And she's, yes, absolutely. And I will come visit you at jail, and I will bring her with me. Now, one more thing before we stop talking about this, and I think we might even be done. But at the end of the movie, don't freak out right away when you see something. Because you're going to be like, oh, no! But it's okay.
Yeah, that's the next spoiler. There's 2 endings. So there's an ending for turds, and then there's an ending for good people.
Yes.
It kind of it doesn't remind me of the movies that we talk about, but like the way all that went down was very Fight Club. Because like when you find out that Tyler Durden was in his head, they go back and show you all the scenes and how silly they looked when he was beating the fuck out of himself in the parking lot, and when he dropped the bottle that he was actually blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then it also reminded me a lot of Set It Off.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit. Just like one person set it off.
Yeah, for me it was like The Sixth Sense all over again, and I'm like, what? Now I gotta rewatch it, even though they showed us all of the things. And, oh my goodness, Sinbad.
I didn't even know that was Sinbad
until I just
until
told
she
him.
told me. I was just
I said, the guy in the wheelchair is Sinbad, and he's like, what? Because I've always been a huge Sinbad fan. Huge. And he had a stroke, and so it's kind of put him out of, the comedy and movies and everything. But Tyler Perry made a comment that said, it gives a man much pride to be able to put food on his family's table and be a man, and he's still able to act. He's still able to participate in movies. So, you know, and they put him in
And
it.
that is nothing for Tyler Perry, because you know, he's one of the richest people in North America.
I loved it because I love Sinbad. But now, like we said, you know, in the beginning of the movie, you see the daughter in all of the scenes, and you don't realize until the end that the daughter has passed away. But in the beginning, when she's taking her daughter to school, the Sinbad character is sitting there in his wheelchair, and in the movie, he plays a homeless guy. And no matter what she has or doesn't have, she makes sure she give him some change, or if she cooks, she brings him food. Like, she's always good to this character. But now there's only one funny part in this movie, and I laughed so hard just because Sinbad does not have to say or do anything to be funny. He can make a facial expression, and you just all, if you're a Sinbad fan, you already know. So in the movie, the little girl, she's taking the little girl to school, and the mom looks at the Sinbad character. She's like, I don't have anything for you today, I'm sorry. And the little girl looks over at him, she goes, why don't you have any teeth? Now, of course, the little girl ain't here, so he doesn't really respond, but the look that he has on his face when they zoom into him, you can't help but laugh because he's just looking like...
It's almost like he heard her.
It's almost like he heard her, and he's like, bitch, shut up. You
So
know,
maybe
who
it's
are my
something,
teeth?
it was probably something she had done before.
Maybe so.
I'm going to say in my head.
But yeah, that movie was phenomenal. And
Yeah,
the other
I
movie
enjoyed
that, or
it.
the other show that I have started, is The Mortician. It's not a movie; it's a documentary about a crematory in the '80s, and we'll talk about that next week because I don't sure about that shit.
Crematoria. Oh,
The
wow.
crematoria. So, before we go, I would like to show you these things that you should never ever order.
They are hats for penises.
So, I saw this
I felt like
thing
we were just being stalked.
on the TikToks where everybody's like, oh my god, magnetic eyelashes, which I've had magnetic eyelashes before, but I just used magnetic eyeliner and then plopped them on, and I really like the magnetic lashes that way. But I saw these, and what you do is you put them on top and the bottom, and then it's supposed to clamp onto your eyelashes.
Oh my god, that's for one eye.
This is for one eye. Now let me show
Oh,
you.
you're gonna look like you on some weird planet.
Now watch this. There's none in here. There's a half of one in there, and there's none in here. So guess what? Don't buy these son of a bitches. Because if you're like me, you can't get them on right.
And who wants to only do one eye?
So we can probably put this on. Well, no, it's magnetic. Never mind.
Yeah.
I can't put it on anything. But yeah. So if you can get those on your eyes, good tidings to you and comfort and joy, bitch, because I can't. So, Nick?
Enjoy. We've got 2 more weeks of Pride. Oh, and you know what? This is episode 14, so the next episode will also be summer break season finale.
Season finale. We'll
As-
have to find out a location that we can shoot from. If anybody has a suggestion, please call me and let me know.
Yeah.
If not, we'll be sitting here and we'll probably, usually on our season finales,
Ferner falafel
we eat food from somewhere. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll figure out a place that we're going. We'll find a spot and we'll bring it here and we'll do a food review for you. All right?
Bye. We love you.
Can you do the thing? The thing?
Yeah, the
Turn it
thing.
off?
Oh yeah. Hi. Goodbye. We love you. Long time. We love
Will
you.
I ever get fake tits?
Yes.